Ghouls and Ghosts was one of the very first Genesis games that I ever played, and it left an impression on me. Its cartoony horror aesthetics, tight platforming gameplay, challenging level design. It was pretty much the first platformer that I could recall beating. And although there was a sequel on the Super Nintendo, I never got a chance to play that one. It wouldn't be until Maximo Goes to Glory on the PS2 that I would be reintroduced to the franchise. And I have to say, it actually turned out pretty great. Created by Capcom Studio 8 and headed by Crash Bandicoot producer David Siller, Maximo, much like Siller's previous work, is a 3D action platformer where the objective is to get to the end of the stage, all while fighting the hordes of the undead and traversing obstacles by either jumping platform to platform or finding keys to progress to the next section. Levels will become more challenging as you progress. However, this game does reward exploration. By searching off the beaten path, you may find a variety of power-ups that will either restore your health, increase your armor, power up your shield, power up your sword, or provide you with an extra life. And if you really are in a pickle, you can always buy power-ups at the Wheel of Prizes, providing you have enough coins. Combat isn't overtly complicated. Most enemies will fall in a couple of hits, while others may need a downward thrust to defeat. At worst, you may need to block a hit or two before you can counterattack. Though, if that's not really your thing, if close combat isn't your thing, you could always toss Maximo's shield or use one of the sword's power-ups to launch a projectile attack from afar. Though I do have to point out that each one of these sword power-ups does have its own energy bar, so you can only use the projectiles and attacks a limited number of times before you run out. Levels are all stemmed from 5 different hub worlds, which act kind of like a place where you could catch a breather, buy power-ups, stock up on coins, and save your game. However, I don't know why for the life of me that they would charge you 100 gold coins just to save your progress. The decision to either buy armor that you sorely need or save your game makes certain points feel pretty frustrating. I actually found myself replaying level 1 Gravedigger a bunch of times just to stock up on coins. And to make things worse, traveling between hub worlds costs 100 coins as well. So yeah, this is one part of the game that I find pretty annoying. Maneuvering and controlling Maximo is spot on. The response from the DualShock 2 control is precise, and never while I was playing did I feel that Maximo was out of my control. Every action button executes flawlessly. Capcom kept everything simple for the most part, from running and jumping to blocking and attacking. First time players will have no trouble getting the hang of the controls. Only criticism would be that there's no free camera movement, but that's a minor nitpick. They kept the visuals fairly simple for the most part. Textures are single layered though, but for a game that aims to look like an animated cartoon, it fits the graphics well. The overall look stays true to what Ghouls and Ghosts felt like back in the day, and Capcom Studio 8 utilized the PS2's transparency and special effects pretty well here. Things like the Wheel of Prizes, water, and the weapon power-up lighting really catches your eye. This is excellent use of the PS2 hardware. However, my only criticism to some of these visuals would be the fact of, well, there's a lack of facial animation. Granted, when Maximo's moving around, jumping, it looks pretty fluid. However, when he's standing still or one of the sorceresses is talking to you, their faces have no expression. It's like you're staring at a mannequin. And this is a little surprising considering the fact that they took some cues from Crash Bandicoot that actually had facial animations back on the PS1. That when I first saw that, that was really surprising. And the fact that they didn't have this here, that they didn't have that facial animation here in a PS2 game, I gotta say, it's surprising. It's surprising that they didn't went that extra mile and put some sort of mouth or facial movement, or even the eye movement. There was nothing like that in Maximo. But it is what it is, and quite honestly, it doesn't really affect the overall look of the game. Now, music is the hardest subject that I wanted to talk about in this game. The music was composed by veteran video game musicians Todd Dennis, Chris Rickwood, and others. These artists took the original Ghouls and Ghosts Level 1 theme song and arranged it to like an orchestral, magnificent piece that emphasizes the grand adventure that Maximo is on, all while harkening back to the arcade original. It truly does feel that I'm playing a 3D sequel to Ghouls and Ghosts, and the work they did in the later levels are just as epic. The music here truly captures the atmosphere of the environment, and it gets repeated and rearranged as you play the game. I really don't have anything bad to say about the music here. I would put the instrumentation on par to like a weekday afternoon cartoon. That's how good it is. Everything about this game melds perfectly, from the cartoony style of the art to the cheery music numbers and even the medieval themed setting. Nothing about this game seems out of place. This also extends to the enemies themselves. I didn't talk too much about the enemies, but there's a bit of a variety, and how they react, how they walk, how they attack gives them a personality and characterization that seems to fit perfectly like in one of those old school Saturday morning cartoons. These guys really knew what they were doing. They were really focusing on that animated feel, and it just works. There's no other way to say it. It just works. And there you have it, guys. Maximo goes to glory for the PS2. I'll be honest, it took a lot for me to actually buy a PS2. After the demise of the Dreamcast, I hated the PS2 with a passion. I hated it so much for no real reason. You see, people talk about console world and hating on console. Before the PS2, I thought it was all BS. But after what happened to the Dreamcast, I kind of hated the console for a while there. And it took like a big slew of excellent games to come out to actually convince me otherwise. And this was pretty much the pinnacle, the one game that said, hey, you gotta look this way. There's something good over here. And when I saw it in a demo and then played it myself, I fell in love. Like, wow, the PS2 is a good system. It does have good games. It took a while to get there, I'll be honest, but honestly, this is the one game that made me want to get the console. It's like an homage slash remake slash revival of a classic Capcom franchise. And I'm a little sad that, Capcom didn't go ahead and continue the series. But for what's here, it's awesome. I gotta give this game like a 8 out of 10 or a B. A B. It's an excellent game. Lots of things to find, lots of secrets, boxers to collect, power-ups. There's a whole slew of things that you could do in this game, and the replay value is really high, especially if you're trying to get like the highest 100% score. Anyway, this was Knockout 21. Please comment, rate, and subscribe, and like always, have a good one. Take care, you guys.